Hi, my name is Hussein Nasher. We're doing our discussion for assignment 1.
I'm Lauren Stevenson.
I'm Justin Rowe.
Will Threlkeld.
Our first discussion is about what we planned and why we planned this.
We planned a session. We had 2 equal teams with about 6 people each. And the game was you had to, in an area of about 10 by 10 metres, you had to make 10 passes between your teams, and the other team had to try and intercept the ball. We used a tennis ball. So this improved throwing, catching, agility and tactical awareness.
Do you feel that the goal we set was achieved through that? Because obviously
Yeah.
we said that we worked on catching and throwing. But do you feel like that's all we did?
No, we
Did we achieve other things?
we achieved other things, so like the agility and the tactical awareness. The tactical awareness was a big one because you needed to make 10 passes, so it was like you had to move into space, and this covers a lot of sports, like where you have to pass and move into space, such as like football, netball.
Yeah. So next time we plan, I think it'd be better like if we set like more goals than just one, like we only said that we'd work on catching in our plan. So if like next time we like put more things that we can work on, because obviously we achieved a lot more. But if they put in the plan, like Den Bosque 2006 says, it like leaves more direction for the session, and you know what you're doing and you know what you want to achieve more.
What I found out was Processes 2003 suggests that if you took your time planning, such as taking in advance 2 weeks to plan a session, will help us to cover any mistakes. So when we plan, we could sit together and like weeks to come instead of like we did it like maybe a week before the session.
Yeah.
But we said like 2 weeks before that, we can help each other to pick a certain area, and we all know exactly what to do instead of getting each other's way.
We could have also practiced our session before we did it. Say if we'd done it like a couple of weeks before, we could have used it on just even in between ourselves, done a little game to see if we could have improved.
So we all know each other's roles.
Yeah.
We could have also found information about participants, the ability, how good they were, the age of them.
The things they needed to work on, like we could have looked like at what they're good at and what they're not good at. And
So why do you feel that we did the session? Like, how can we say why did we do
Why
the
did we
session?
choose that?
Yeah, why did we pick
Why did
that?
we choose that certain area?
I think we chose as in it has to be fun and exciting for the group. So if you say throwing and catching, sometimes it's not very exciting. So if you make it into a game,
Really more
where
challenging.
it makes it more challenging, which brings out the best in all of them as well.
Yeah, that's fair enough. The other question is, what do you think went well? What do you think went well, and what do you think did well for individual?
I watched, because obviously
Individual.
I watched the session because I videoed it, I wasn't involved. And from my point of view, I thought that like you was really good at keeping like everyone motivated. All of you, like all through the games and stuff, you was all like talking to the people, telling them what they were doing good and stuff like that. You're always giving them feedback and like motivating them through encouragement, like extrinsic motivation. You was always praising it, and like in Teach P 2015, like says that's like kind of the best way to keep people involved and encouraging them through extrinsic motivation.
We explained it well, so like as soon as we explained it, all the participants knew exactly what they were doing. We got them into the game quite quickly as well, which I thought was good. We didn't waste time speaking for ages. We got them into the game quite quickly, and I think they all enjoyed it, and it was competitive as well.
What I found as well, Smith suggests that when we did the session, like how you said, we talked about quickly, so everyone was still engaged. So everyone was still ready. The man was set to play the game.
Yeah.
So no one
Yeah,
was
we
losing
moved on
focus.
to everything quite
That's
quickly,
what I
and
like.
we was always doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
you did that good, so you just walked straight into it.
Yeah.
So I think that went well. What about any areas to improve?
It shows, and just another point on that.
Sorry.
Our enthusiasm rubbed off on them. So say, as if we were enthusiastic, they were more enthusiastic about the
Yeah.
session. Like Amarose 2007 said, the performance, the coach's performance improves the participants' performance as well.
It's very true.
So what do you think we could have worked on differently? What do you think could have been better?
I think more shared coaching, if you know what I mean.
I think we could have done a smaller sided game first before because what we did was when we put both teams, we just used the 2 teams. And I think some people in the game who wasn't a good ability, wasn't really getting touch of the ball, and they probably didn't get as much out of it in a session as the higher ability people. So
Yeah.
before that we could have done like 2 smaller sided games or even 3 or 4 smaller sided games.
Or even like basic throwing and catching to
Yeah.
see who's
That
better
comes
at
about
throwing and
planning,
catching.
like planning in
Yeah.
advance.
Yeah, we've got
It'll
to
help a lot
learn.
better. Like you said, practice it before you do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, comes together like that, doesn't it? Some question.
Okay, I'll just say something about that. I feel like when you was doing it was all like kind of game based, like for the last game, like in the few like because we did some catching and throwing didn't we before that. But when you asked them to do that, they were just throwing and catching because they'd been told to do it. But as soon as you moved on to the game, they was all concentrating a lot more and trying the best and putting them skills into use a lot more. So I feel like they learnt a lot more from the game rather than
Yeah.
the throwing and catching.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
fair enough.
if you put him into a game situation, like they want it more, so they're more like they have a goal, so they're trying to achieve them and the challenge. And I think that next time we should put more like games into the
I
session.
think at one point we put in like a forfeit for the losing team. So if you made your passes with the
Yeah.
ball, the other team had to do a run.
Yeah, we'd have to do
Yeah.
it in the day.
So that's what we did on the day. So
Yeah.
making forfeits for the losing team always improves performance of.
I think what else we did was
Both
we
teams.
differentiated
Yeah.
very well. So when we saw the task was becoming too easy for the pass, we'd like put another ball in, make it a bit more difficult, and made the square a bit smaller, made it more harder.
You know what made it hard for us though as coaches? We had to do it to people in the same class. If we do it to people that we didn't know, it
Yeah.
was easy
Yeah.
for us as an individual. So
Mhm.
we had to do it to people in our same class, so our coaching behaviours wasn't the same as we would be.
Yeah.
We weren't professional in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot harder to do people that are the same age who you've been
Your
in,
friendship
yeah,
group, yeah.
in your friendship group as well. So it's not sometimes you won't have the respect as if you would as a normal coach
Yeah.
from like younger kids or
Yeah.
people your age. But well, anyway.
say we had to do it again, what would you do different? Like the session? Can you cover this?
share the coaching times. Like I said, we had what like we had us 3 coaching. You were recording
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I just share a bit more. So say Will has a task for 5 minutes, you have a task for 5 minutes, and I run for 5 minutes. Instead of all doing bits and bits and bits, just
Yeah.
have like a shared thing that you
Yeah.
do, because then you can have your effect on the session.
Last question.
Can I just say as well that I think if we do it again, we should use a lot more random practice than block practice because do you know what that is?
Kind of.
Like, yeah, because obviously at Simpson 2006 says that if you're using blocks practice, they're not thinking for themselves. So like what I was saying earlier about them being in the game situation,
Yeah.
they was thinking for themselves and they was working a lot harder and actually getting more done. Whereas when you was doing the block practice, just the throwing and catching, they weren't thinking.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we do more random practice, you're learning how to do the skill as well as how to think for yourself and how to challenge in game situations.
I also think we should have done some more small-sided games as well before we moved into the big game,
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
because the people with less ability wasn't really they didn't really get a chance when they're throwing and catching to play the game, because it was all the best players, like the 2 best players on each team were just passing the ball to each other.
Yeah.
Well, how
it's
could we have done
different.
that? What should we have done there and then to change that? Say we've gone from the basics.
Well, we
to
did. We
game.
changed it because
We adapted, didn't
we adapted to you couldn't pass the ball back to
the same
Yeah.
the
person.
same person. So it was getting different people around them. We did bring in a rule as well that every single person on the team had to touch the ball before
Yeah.
you got your point. So that was the point. So we changed it from 10 passes. to
Couldn't we have done things like, say, 2 of the best players on the same team?
So how did we all feel like while reflecting on the session that we did?
Well, I watched the session, so I could only reflect after it. But how do you all feel? Like, did you reflect during the session? Did you have to change anything? Like, did you realise something weren't working and change it up? Or
Like Will said before, we had to adapt there and then, didn't we? Like into
Yeah.
games to get everyone involved,
yeah.
give everyone a go at the game, so like different abilities had to play with people who had got higher abilities than others. What else do we do?
We could also have done with, like, knowing how many numbers we had before, because I think on the day we got thrown with a group of numbers, and we had to
Yeah.
do the teams that way. So if you had a certain amount of numbers, it would have been a lot better.
I think that at the end of the session, like you could have like had a little debrief and get them to give you feedback,
Yeah.
because that's a good way of looking at what went well and what didn't. BOW 2012 states that getting feedback and giving feedback gets a lot of knowledge from what you've done, and it's the best way of finding out what went well and what didn't go well, and
Yeah.
you should gain your knowledge from other people.
Yeah.
Maybe
Although
feedback
what we did
next
do
time.
well as well during the session was when we were asking the participants all the way through if they were enjoying it, and seeing asking them what they thought of the session, and asking them, I think one of them
Yeah, we didn't
come up
plan
with a
that, did we?
progression, and we used that.
Yeah.
Well, on your point, Smith also suggests that 2009 suggests the more you get feedback of people, the more obviously you know what to do for next time to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And obviously we're reflecting now. I videoed the session and we all look back at the video to decide what went well.
Yeah.
But obviously Kidman 2012 says that it's hard to watch yourself back on a video, because obviously you've got to get past watching yourself before you can actually reflect on yourself. So did any of you find it hard to watch the video and look at the way you coach rather than look at what you were doing?
Yeah, you tend to focus on what you're doing rather than what's going on in
Yeah.
the session when you look at the video.
overall, I think we did alright. The session went well. Everyone enjoyed it. And
I
we,
think.
as coaches, we all adapted what we needed to do.
And we
Mm.
also, we also got roles well. You Lan.
No, but I feel like now that we've looked at it and we've reflected on it, there's a lot of things that we've worked out what went well, and there's a lot of things that we know we can do different next
Yeah.
time.
And
which
we've
I
all
think is
found
good.
them ourselves, so off each other. So I found something, you found something, and
Yeah,
we're
we
all
all
together.
worked together.
So if
Yeah.
we had to do the session again
Yeah,
with the
it would
same
be a
group,
lot
it'd be a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this has worked for us? This
Reflective process.
do you think an effective approach has worked for us as well?
Yeah, I think
coaches,
it
it helps
as
us.
coaches,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd use it again.
I think it
If you
helps
had
us
to-
coaches, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe as
Do you think-
individually. So if you're going to coach yourself, I think watching yourself on your own would be a lot more beneficial than watching with a group maybe. Or something.
Yeah.
Do you think you got a lot from watching the video back, or do you think that
It helps
was
us
the
as
things
coaches.
that you saw in the video that you didn't know you'd actually done?
Yeah, personally, it shows you what you're good at and what you're not. That
Yeah.
you maybe didn't know. Cause
It helps us become better coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for your time. It's been a really great day.